Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I hope y'all are doing well today. So today I'm finally going to be checking out the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Powder Foundation. I'm going to be giving y'all my first impression on this and doing a wear test, but I'm also going to be comparing it side by side to the Fenty Powder Foundation because a lot of people have been comparing these thinking that they're very similar to one another. So that's what we're going to be investigating today. So if this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video today. My name is SonyaNicole, and I post new makeup videos every week, including some stuff for makeup lovers who are 40 and over. So I really hope that you'll consider subscribing today. I would love to have you join the channel, and I would really appreciate your support. Okay, y'all, let's jump right into it. Alright, so in case you're not familiar, here is the L'Oreal Powder Foundation, and this is part of the Infallible line. So you might recall they did come out with the liquid foundation a while ago. I feel like this has been out for probably over a year now, as well as the concealer, and I think that they have like a primer or something else in the Infallible line. So this powder foundation claims to be up to a 24-hour wear, so let's just say it's supposed to be a long wearing foundation, and it's supposed to be a full coverage matte foundation. So one of the differences between these two, or at least it's claiming to be different, is that the Fenty foundation is a medium to full buildable coverage and a soft matte finish. This one is claiming to be a full coverage with a matte finish. So I feel like if the claims on this are right, it should be a little bit more matte looking than the Fenty one. And because this is claiming to be a full coverage, I'm thinking that I can get more coverage with this one with being able to use less of the product. So that's what we're going to be testing today. Okay, so I'm just going to put my hair out of the way, and we're going to start off with concealer first so that I can put my liquids on before I go in with the powder. So I'm going to use one of the concealers that I use the most. This is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Radiant Concealer. So I'm going to quickly apply this and then set it. And next I'm going to set my concealer with my Coty Airspun powder. Okay, so let's get into the foundations now, and I'm going to apply the Fenty one first on this side of my face. I'm not going to focus a whole lot on the Fenty one because even though we're doing a side-by-side comparison, I do want the focus of the video to be on the L'Oreal foundation. But I will link my video, my first impression and wear test video on the Fenty one in case you haven't seen it. So I'm going to quickly apply this one. I'm going to be using this brush from BoxyCharm. This is not one of my favorite brushes, but I'm using this today because it is quite similar to the brush that I'm going to be using to apply the L'Oreal foundation. So I'm just going to start off with building this up on my cheeks, and just in case you're watching one of my videos for the first time, I always like to start applying foundation on my cheek. I just want most of the product to be concentrated in that area. So I'm just going to keep applying this until I feel like I've built it up to a nice medium coverage, even though the L'Oreal one is claiming to be full coverage. Just in case I feel like I'm not getting full coverage from that, I just want to stop this side when I feel like I've built it up only to medium coverage so that they can be the same on both sides. Okay, so I feel like this is a good medium coverage. Like you can still see some stuff coming through on my cheeks, but I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to put too much on just in case I'm only getting medium coverage from the other one. So let's move on to the L'Oreal foundation, and I'm going to be using this Luxie Pro Precision Face Brush. This is the one that I prefer for powder foundations. So I'm going to be wearing the shade 330 Hazelnut. This is the one that looks closest to what my shade would be in the liquid foundation, so that's why I went with this one. And I'm just going to do the same thing over here and start on my cheeks. This has a slight scent to it, like nothing off-putting, but I don't know. A slight, I can't put my finger on it, but it's something. I'm smelling something. Okay, so let me know what y'all think, but I do feel like the coverage level is a lot better over here. Now I do have more scarring on this side of my face right now, so keep that in mind, but I do feel like this is like really easily building up to like a high medium coverage, not necessarily full coverage because I can still see some stuff coming through, but I definitely feel like the coverage level is higher with the L'Oreal foundation. Now in terms of how it's applying, it is applying pretty nicely. It's blending out well. I feel like it's laying really nicely on my face. It's a little bit darker than the Fenty foundation, but other than that, it looks really nice. It's just more full coverage, I would say. Okay, so I feel like I'm gonna stop right here because now I do think that I have pretty much the same level of coverage on both sides of my face, but I did apply less of the L'Oreal one because, like I said, I think the coverage level is higher. So this is the L'Oreal foundation over here, and then this is the Fenty foundation over here. So I think they both look good side by side. The L'Oreal one is definitely something that I would wear, but the Fenty one is definitely a better shade match. Just putting a little bit more on my nose here. So the most important thing we're checking out today is how this L'Oreal foundation wears and how long it lasts compared to the Fenty foundation. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup off camera, come back and show y'all what that looks like, and then we will get into the wear test. Okay, so here is my makeup for the day, and I will have everything that I'm wearing in the description box in case you're interested. So one more time, this is the L'Oreal side and this is the Fenty side. So my first impression on this foundation, I do like it. It is something that I would wear. I do think it looks a bit more makeup-y than the Fenty side, and I think that that's just because I'm getting more coverage over here. It's just higher coverage, and it definitely is a matte finish, so because of that it just looks like more obvious, I guess, that I'm wearing makeup, whereas I think the Fenty side is coming off a bit more skin-like. So I did notice when I was doing my makeup that this side, when I first put the L'Oreal foundation on, it looked like it was an okay shade match, but I did notice right away that the Fenty side was a better shade match. However, as I was putting my makeup on, to me this started looking a bit more like a warmer tone on my skin, and I do remember when I tried the liquid foundation I thought the same thing, that it was a bit on the yellow side, but it is still something that I could wear. So overall, I do like it. I do think that I would prefer the Fenty foundation over this one, and I definitely wouldn't consider this to be a drugstore dupe for the Fenty foundation. I think that there are too many differences, especially in the coverage level. That's the main thing, but they're both really nice. So like I said earlier, the main test though is gonna be how they wear. So I'm gonna start my wear test, and I'm just realizing my phone is all the way on the other side of the room. Okay, so we're gonna start the wear test, and it's going on 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll be back a few hours later and we will see what we're looking like. Okay, y'all, I am back, and I feel like I'm now to the point where I'm ready to blot and repowder my face. So the only thing that I've done so far is I have reapplied my lipstick just to put it on to finish out the video. So it's going on 8 o'clock in the evening now, so we made it to about 7 hours of wear for today. So let me just show y'all side by side one more time. This is the L'Oreal foundation over here, and then over here we have the Fenty foundation. So let me know what y'all think. Do you think they pretty much look the same? Do you think one side has worn better than the other? I definitely like the Fenty side better. Now the L'Oreal side is nice. It's definitely something that I would use, but I think that the Fenty side is just wearing a smidge better than L'Oreal. So I am oily in my T-zone. That's where I always get oily, but I think I'm especially oily like on my nose and like right on the sides of my nose. And looking at this area especially, I just think the Fenty side is just not quite as shiny, not quite as oily as over here. And then like I said earlier, I do think even with my natural oils coming through, the Fenty side just looks a bit more skin-like. It looks a bit more natural, whereas the L'Oreal side, it does look nice, but it does look a bit more like makeup, if that makes sense. Not to say that it looks cakey or anything, because it doesn't, but I just think the Fenty side looks a bit more natural. So the last thing that we're going to test is we're just going to blot and repowder just to see how the makeup refreshes. And I always like to do this when I test out foundations, just so that, you know, if you do have to wear the makeup for a long period of time and you're out and about and you want to refresh it, you just want to see how that's going to work out. So I'm just going to take a tissue here and I'm just going to blot in my T-zone. And I always like to take note of if there's any like makeup that's like pulling off, if it looks like patchy or something when you blot. And I think the makeup is pretty much staying intact. Now, because I'm just thinking about this, because these are powder foundations, I feel like what I just did is enough. I don't think that I have to go back in with powder, so I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. And even still with blotting off that excess oil, I still feel like I'm liking the Fenty side a little bit better. So my final thoughts on this foundation, it is good. It is something that I would use, but I would not consider it a drugstore dupe for the Fenty foundation. I think if you want something that is a bit more full coverage and something that is a bit more matte, then definitely go with this. But if you want something that's a bit more skin-like and something that's a bit more natural looking, I would say go with the Fenty foundation. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video and I hope that you found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe before you head out, and please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.